It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is It's All Good, Man, the Better Call Saul podcast. My name is Brian, and with me, as always, is Dave with no pause. Dave, how's it going?
I was going to address the no pause.
Well, I figured in preview with the prior, I broke my own record for longest pauses like 4 times in one episode, so I figured I would give everybody a reprieve, and we wouldn't have to do the pause.
I like it. No, I'm just sitting here in the dark, waiting for him to arrive.
All right. Yeah, speaking of which, no Nacho this episode again. Is that 2 in a row?
Yes, at least.
Michael Mando must be demanding a huge guarantee if they're trying to save money by keeping him out of 2 episodes.
It's like a holdout, like an NFL holdout.
Mm-hmm. Well, what they'll do that a lot, like because the folks get paid per episode that they're in. So if they're not in an episode, also that probably means that there's probably
featured actors get paid for the whole. If they get credited for the whole season and paid for the whole season. Like you'll see Nacho in the credits, even though he didn't appear in the episode.
Gotcha. Well, then maybe there's a huge Nacho episode coming up.
Probably. I think they're going to do something like that. And, I mean, he's kind of just off the grid right now.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to write? Like, you're just going to show him waiting in dark rooms?
Yeah. Wait. He's sitting in a dark room right now waiting for his moment to shine.
It would be like we'd just be watching Nacho watching Better Call Saul.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, so let's start with this episode 406. Holy shit, episode 406.
So now we're over the halfway point.
Yeah, so 407, 408, 409. Yeah, 4 episodes left.
Way to count, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to point out, you used your fingers.
I did, just to make sure my math is correct. Exactly. All right, name of this episode is what, Dave?
Piñata.
Okay, here we go.
Which is funny because the day I watched this episode, I had to go to my cousin's daughter's birthday party, where my job is to
birthday party. Okay, cousin's
daughter's
birthday party.
I have a cousin, which is my mother's sister's daughter.
Okay,
and she has a daughter. And then her daughter had a birthday. Well, my cousin's daughter had a birthday.
Okay,
not my cousin's daughter's daughter.
Gotcha. And that is less confusing to me than counting to 4 on my fingers.
But yeah, my job is to run the piñata. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Awesome, cool. Yeah. Well, see, it was just life imitating art, imitating life.
Imitating art.
Indeed. All right, so we open up with Jimmy and Kim in the mailroom.
Yeah, Jimmy's going around handing out mail and taking in his bets for the Oscar pool.
Yeah, smart move. If you're going to make money, man, he has like a captive audience and people like to bet on stupid things. So.
Right. Well, it's also a clever way to establish the year. Because this was the 1993 Academy Awards. And go ahead.
You know, I got to be honest, even though this is like our retake of this section on this podcast, as soon as I saw this episode and they were talking about the Oscars and such, I knew that you were going to be all about it, or at least look up some of the winners.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah,
you are right. For example, Emma Thompson did in fact win Best Actress. Although I don't find her pragmatic. I actually think she's impractical and unrealistic.
Well, you know what? She has an Oscar and you don't. So 3 points to her. So far, Emma Thompson's in the lead on the podcast. Very nice.
She's got more than one Oscar, actually.
Oh, man, 6 points. Emma Thompson really is running away with it. You know what? I'm just going to call it right now. Emma Thompson won this podcast. Good. So congrats to Emma Thompson. And I'll be sure to tag her on Twitter to let her know. Just so her Twitter handlers are like, who the fuck are these people? All right.
I like it. All
right, moving on.
Did you notice, I can't remember the coworker's name, the one who was having trouble with the documentary short?
No.
Which, by the way, Educating Peter was the winner of that. He's like, you're all in on Howard's End, huh? Howard's End?
Nice.
Huh?
Clever. Foreshadowing. And trickery for sure.
And she might have won because Howard's End took home 3 Oscars, including Best Art Direction, Best Screenplay based on material previously published, and Best Actress, Emma Thompson.
All right. Way cool. Okay. Emma Thompson. Right. Just, this is a blowout. Blowout for Emma Thompson on this podcast.
That's right. And I did appreciate the Al Pacino hoo-ah reference because I made that reference not more than, I think, 2 episodes ago.
You know what? I actually thought of that too. And what struck me about this episode, a lot of stuff we've been saying or half-ass predicting or just joking around about actually kind of came true in this episode, which makes it kind of hilarious. There were several times I sat down and thought, holy crap, Dave and I joked about that. Dave and I talked about that, yeah.
I mean, well, maybe we're going to kill Al Pacino because we just killed Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, that's true. We killed Burt Reynolds. Look out, Al. And Emma... Although on the bright side, Emma Thompson might win another Oscar because she won this podcast. So big ups to her once again.
I think winning our podcast is much more prestigious than winning an Oscar.
It would mean more to me. It would mean more than me. You know, one of the main things that struck me as funny during the whole scene where Jimmy's collecting money for the ballots is how he would flip over the box to put money and then flip it back over to hide it to make it look like a package. Right. I like to think he had a label on the back side of the package to... I didn't catch it in the view, but I like to think Jimmy's the kind of guy that would go full bore with that and make a fake label so it can't be questioned at all. Kim's obviously taking the job seriously. She's actually running around doling out the mail without any, without any enterprises running in the background.
Well, she's hustling, and this is really get into not so subtle clues, I guess, as to maybe what might happen to her, which means they might go a different direction later because they like to do that to us. But yeah, it definitely shows the difference between the 2 characters and the opposites attract thing, which we addressed in preview with the prior, Paula Abdul.
Right.
And
Paula Abdul. Jimmy just cannot care less when Kim's explaining the epicness of Chuck's win.
Right. Well, does he? No, he doesn't. Because he stops her and says, give me the big picture. Don't spare me the details because I can't follow him anyway. He even got who was wrong, like who was on the Isaacson, was on their side, but he thought it was on the other side. So.
It's good to see Michael McKean.
Yeah, I put an exclamation point after his name.
There was something oddly off-putting about his dye job on his eyebrows and his hair, though.
Yeah, I noticed he looked a lot douchier.
Right. Right. And I don't know. It's like they didn't do any makeup on his face.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know.
But did the hair, right? That's how I felt it looked. And
I think it looked like they smoothed out his face a little bit, actually.
Really? You think so? I think it just looked like Michael McKean just with
weird
ginger-esque hair.
And fuller eyebrows.
Yeah, right? And really made his eyebrows pop. Definitely on fleek, as the kids from 6 years ago said.
Yes, eyebrows on fleek. Here's a question, though. Which is douchier looking? Michael McKean in as early Chuck or Michael McKean in Airheads?
I'd say early Chuck, and I think that's probably by design.
Absolutely. Yeah, they made him look like your typical douchebag lawyer.
Right, and he's totally... his total annoyance of Jimmy, who doesn't even understand who their client is.
Yeah, totally. And the patronizing, like, yeah, Jimmy,
Yeah, good one, Jim. Yep.
Nice joke, you male monkey.
Yeah.
Male jockey. Sorry.
Yeah, so great. Isaacson was
the
there.
Isaacson case.
Actually. And then as he was walking off, as Chuck was walking, Howard comes in and says, hey, we're all like, yeah, young Howard, who also looks just like now Howard.
Yeah, I was going to say, Fabian didn't age. Like, that's just the same. They're like, oh, yeah, you haven't aged in 25 years, so just,
right.
We're just going to throw a suit on you. And...
Why start now? Why start now?
Right.
So, the nerd in me, when Chuck walks off and he talks about Mr. Bushnell, I was just kind of secretly hoping that he was talking about like Nolan Bushnell, the founder of Chuck E. Cheese's.
It's Bushmills, Brian.
Bushnell.
It's Bushmills. It's an Irish whiskey.
I'm going with Bushnell, the creator of Chuck E. Cheese. Is it really Bushmills?
Yeah, because my first thought was like, I'm more of a Tullamore Dew kind of a guy. But yeah, Bushmills,
I didn't know that.
Bushmills is a whiskey, so they're saying we're gonna go celebrate with shots of whiskey. Mr. Bushmills is waiting for you.
Ah, got it. Okay.
Kind of
Okay.
like, remember back in college when I was all upset about my homework one night, and our roommate says, "Dave, you got an appointment with Dr. Beam?"
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I woke up on the bathroom floor 5 hours later.
Nice. Okay.
Dr.
Okay.
Beam. So yeah, I'm familiar with that turn of phrase.
I gotcha. Well, I hate whiskey because it tastes like turpentine. So I was just like,
sweet
you know,
turpentine.
I'd rather drink some Bartles and James, Bartles and James Fuzzy Navel wine coolers.
Or if you want to hear Brian do 8 shots of Malort, you can go listen to our Super Bowl spectacular episode.
Yeah, that was bad. Okay, so I didn't pick up on the whole whiskey drinking thing. I think I was probably taking notes.
Sorry to ruin your joke about Chuck E. Cheese.
No, because no, it's okay. I was just kind of thinking that in my interpretation of it, because I didn't hear them talking about the whiskey thing, is, man, my thought was, man, Chuck's so hardcore. He just won a major victory, and he's like, bam, on to the next case.
Oh, yeah.
Which I kind of really liked, which I thought was admirable and awesome, and now he's just going to get drunk, which is admirable and awesome. So, I guess it all works out.
Maybe it would be more in line with Chuck's character to just start on another case.
Right. Okay.
But that's not the case.
Like Dan Gable.
Who?
Dan Gable. He was a multi-time. He's one of the most successful wrestlers in college history. And the day after he won the NCAA championship, he got up at 5:30 in the morning and ran like 20 miles to start preparing for the Olympics. That's the day after he won the national championship.
Well, who doesn't do that? I remember in high school we won a game by 20 points and had to do like a bunch of laps around the field goal post to get ready for the next opponent. Coaches said we won the game too easily.
Oh?
So, yeah, I've been there. Game day.
Right.
Still in uniform. Crowds still in the stands, and we're doing wind sprints to prepare for the next football game.
Yeah. Apples to apples. Apples to apples.
Totally the same thing.
Totally the same thing. Phone opening. Lots of gray. Phone in the desert. Anything to add to that?
Hold on. Back up. I really like the part where Jimmy says, "That'll be you soon," and Kim just goes, "Yep."
Yeah, that was awesome. I like that a whole bunch.
Yeah, that was totally, I don't know. It was great.
So some of my notes on that, it's almost like you can tell that she is so infatuated with Chuck.
She admires him profusely. Like, that's who she wants to be.
Yeah.
And that's really coming through in this episode too, with the whole public defender and doing what I love, and
right.
She doing what's right, which is so weird that she's with Jimmy, and why my theory's probably wrong, and she'll just end up believing him.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I had this whole theory worked out that maybe her attraction to Jimmy is that hope that one day Jimmy will kind of come around and realize he's a McGill and kind of have the same passion for the law.
She wants to bang Chuck vicariously.
Yeah.
She wants to turn Jimmy into Chuck so then she can date and be with Chuck.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I literally...
Not bad. I like that theory. I mean, women are fixers.
That's all psychology, right? Like
Freudian psychology without the cocaine.
I'm assuming Chuck's probably with Rebecca still at this point.
Yeah.
Right? What's the next best thing? His brother.
Yeah,
sure, he's a little rough around the edges and can seem aloof at times, but still, he's putting in the work in the mailroom, albeit through his own special brand of work. You know what I mean? He's
working
still,
quotation marks.
Yeah, but he's still working towards the goal of being a lawyer, and he is a McGill, and Chuck's a McGill, and obviously they're brothers, so they probably have a ton in common.
Right. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I thought of.
Mm-hmm.
He might not have been on the path to becoming a lawyer yet.
Who, Jimmy?
So that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking this because when he walks into the library at the end of the scene, it's like watching how much respect Chuck had for Kim after that one meeting because she's working so hard. Then that's maybe the moment he decided to be a lawyer. That's when he's walking by the library and he's like, "Oh, let me go read a book."
Yeah, that's excellent.
Maybe
too.
I should work a little bit at this.
Exactly. That's really great because I was going to bring that up to you and say, why do you think he ducked into the library?
I think this is what started his path of lawyership. which is totally a word that I did not just make up right now.
Nice. So you're saying his thought process.
So Kim is infatuated with Chuck, and Jimmy likes Kim, right?
And therefore,
Kim wants to turn Jimmy into Chuck, but also Jimmy wants to turn himself into Chuck. But Jimmy half-asses and takes a shortcut through everything. So he wants to put on the appearance of him becoming Chuck without actually becoming Chuck, because he doesn't want to be Chuck. But Kim wants a Chuck. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck?
All right. I like it. I dig it. Okay, cool. Right on.
Said Chuck way too many times there.
Yeah, so just go ahead and go through and edit out every stupid thing I said before this, because your theory sounded way better, more eloquent than anything I've said in the past.
Well, I got to do
5
something.
minutes.
I've been kind of pedestrian lately.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. Because my response to that as I watched it, I was like, huh, that's interesting. But that's a good point. We kind of hashed that out, Kim admires Chuck. And can't have Chuck. Jimmy likes Kim, or at least the idea of Kim, like the type of woman that Kim is.
Right.
And
Kim likes the idea of Chuck, so Jimmy could kind of fulfill that idea.
Yeah, it's like the guy that picks up tennis to win over the tennis playing chick that he has a crush on. That's essentially what that is.
Kind of.
Yeah. Okay. I dig it. I like it. Okay.
I thought of it, so fuck yeah, I like it.
No, that's great. All right. Moving on, we do the phone opening. Lots of gray, all that good stuff. After 4 years, we're still discussing the opening thing as if anything is going to change.
Vertical hold goes out a little bit, and did you notice that the theme song cuts off in the middle of a note?
My gosh.
If you're curious about that, pull up our episode where we interviewed Dave Porter, the music guy for Better Call Saul.
You know what's actually I did notice about the opening credits is that they're all different. On every episode, they're different. Have you noticed that?
It's almost like they're different every episode, and then they're also the same number corresponding, like the same order every season. Weird.
It'd be really weird is if they started messing with like the vertical hold and the color integrity of the intros.
Like they make it like it gets more and more black and white every season. And a little grainier, like a little more vertical hold every season. Yeah,
I don't think they would do that, because then podcasters and people on Reddit would start having insane theories about what that could symbolize.
Right, probably a bad idea. But
dumb.
If Nike's shown us anything, it's do whatever you want to get people talking about your product.
That's true. I'm taking a knee right now as we podcast.
We didn't sing the national anthem though yet.
No, I took a knee through the theme song. All right, we start the episode proper with present-day Kim working on the legalities of the Mesa Verde statue, which I guess would be a replica of that giant horse cowboy thing that they have in the lobby of their headquarters.
Yeah, seems to be. I guess you did say it was a giant horse that was definitely overcompensating for something.
Right.
But
and the argument is that it's not just a logo, that it's a piece of art, so its meaning extends past bringing in business and posing as a visual signifier for the business, right? Okay.
Yeah,
clever.
And somewhat of a recall to where they talked about how Chuck won that big case in the opening by citing obscure case law. So she is citing obscure case law to win this case for Mesa Verde.
Yeah, okay, so in this episode, I've noticed a bunch of connected ideas like that.
Totally. There seems to be a lot more. Maybe we missed a lot earlier in the series, but we're definitely noticing them more. But since the series kind of coming to its head anyway, they're kind of approaching the end game here. Yep,
there's only one way it can end, my friend.
Right.
With
there's
Emma Thompson winning an Oscar.
I was going to say there's 14 million possibilities, but we only win one of them. Avengers.
That's true.
Right. Infinity War.
Right.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Who'd have thought? somewhere there's an Earth of people watch. There's 14 million Earths watching the most depressing Avengers movie ever.
Well, do a little research, it wouldn't be depressing because you know it's not the last one.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Okay, back at it.
So Kim keeps eyeing the PD folder.
Yeah, she's like longing for it.
Right. So she puts the Mesa Verde folder on top and the tape recorder she was dictating into on top.
It's weird that she hides that, right? She hides that. She's obviously hiding that from Jimmy.
No, she's hiding it from herself. I took it as she was hiding. She was putting the Mesa Verde on top of it, so it's like I got to do this. I don't have time for this PD shit. I need to get focused on Mesa Verde, so that needs to be on top because I keep looking at it.
I took it as, especially after, a scene further on in the show, she was hiding it from Jimmy. So remind me to come back to that, and I'll explain why.
I don't think she was, but okay.
Okay, well, remind me to come back to it, and I'll explain why.
Okay, I will.
All right. And super poignant moment, she finds Jimmy's doodles and business names.
And ideas, yeah, because he's like, it's always Kim Wexler criminal, but then it's always Jimmy McGill with a different, maybe I'll do real estate law, maybe I'll do bank law, commercial law, criminal law.
And it has like all the different versions of the logo that he...
Yeah, different versions of the Wexler and McGill logo.
Yeah.
And she gives like, oh, that's so sweet smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sweet. I don't know how I'm going to tell him I don't want to fucking do that.
I don't know if she made that decision yet. I was thinking she makes that decision later.
I don't think she made that decision there. I think
she's entertaining the option for sure.
Right. I think it was more of like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
like when a child shows you a picture of a house that they drew, it's
well, more
it's like, oh, that's
it's
cute, but
more
you're
like,
not like
more like when your boyfriend writes a poem for you or something. You're like, oh, that's sweet. He's doing this for me.
Right, but you obviously don't share the sentiment.
Yes.
Right, that's what I'm getting at.
Okay, so let me say it's when your stalker writes a poem for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, that's sweet, but I only see you as a friend or somebody I don't even know. Mm-hmm. Get out of my bushes.
Or if you ever say I love you to somebody and they don't say it back,
it's the worst.
Yeah,
it's the worst. I haven't done it, but it's the worst.
Man, I could only imagine, and I don't know what I would do if I was ever put in that situation. But not to deviate. All right, but the next morning, Jimmy's juicing. Huh?
That's all we do is deviate.
Next morning, Jimmy's a juicing. I'm just saying that's why they call him Juicing Jimmy.
Haven't we already addressed the fact that this is like the juicing craze of 2006?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah, you got to get the nutrients, and it's in the pulp. The nutrients and juice is in the pulp, which you could get just by eating the goddamn fruit.
Juicing extracts the pulp. Blending keeps the pulp.
Mm.
So do you eat the pulp? You juice it and then you just eat the pulp?
I just eat the fucking fruit.
Yeah, that's what most normal people do.
Pulp is gross in drinks. I don't mean to be polarizing, but if you drink apple juice with the pulp, just get the fuck off my podcast.
Apple juice. I've never had pulp apple juice. Orange juice, yes. And for my money, it doesn't get any better.
Did I say apple juice?
Yes.
Oh, I meant.
For my money, when you're really thirsty, nothing goes down smoother than a bunch of chunks of little shit in your drink.
Right.
But it keeps your blood sugar from spiking, so that's always a plus.
So he's making the juice, and Kim brings up the therapist. And Jimmy confesses that he's not going, which I think we actually talked about or kind of saw coming that way. Didn't we discuss that a bit?
I think so. I think we figured Kim would get kind of upset about that, and that's when I think that's where she makes her decision. Like, I'm going to move on. Like, I need to do something.
Yeah,
because
this guy's going nowhere.
Yeah.
He did say he's on a path, though. Jimmy is on a path. He's got his whole little job going.
This goes back to that previous scene we talked about where he's like explaining his situation. I think that's where we kind of we're on board with this already, where he's saying like, I didn't go to therapy. I got to move forward. I'm on this path. The motors are turning, and I got to get shit set up now, so I'm ready to rock and roll in 10 months when I get my law license back.
Right, man. He doesn't really portray that. I that's obviously the path, but the way I took that Jimmy said that, it was almost as if he was alluding to that he's just going to go off on this path as a phone salesman as a means to kind of distract from the activities that he figures he's already going to do on the side by selling phones. So that way, if he makes enough doing that, he doesn't have to go back to being a lawyer. So he's like hedging his bets.
Oh, no, I took it as this is a temporary thing. I have a path, and my path is me getting my law license back in 10 months, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do then.
I took it as...
Because he's drawing the logos, and he's making the names, and he's already...
But he
doesn't... He's calling for the
know,
damn sign in the next scene.
He doesn't know that she has seen that, though.
Right, but that doesn't affect his motivations, though.
I'm just saying, I took it as him being devious, and he's trying to convince her that like this whole cell phone thing is a good idea, especially if cell phones start picking up or like getting dropped off like at his apartment or whatever, because we hadn't seen them be delivered to the salon yet, right? I took it as he was pretty much being as vague as possible, and at the same time trying to convince her that cell phone manager is a viable path, because if it becomes a viable path or it's something he pursues, you see what I'm saying? Like I took it as in his head that was the easiest way to give himself the most options, right? Because the plan is, as far as anybody knows, to go back to being a lawyer. Right. But then I'm thinking Jimmy's kind of devious. So Jimmy's seeing the payday with the phones also, right?
Yeah.
Which it could become big enough, because that's how Jimmy thinks, that he would probably need an alibi at some point of why all of a sudden he's so into cell phones, has all these cell phones, and is in the cell phone business, right? Because that kind of thing is kind of hard to hide, right? So therefore, by saying I have a path, if the cell phones take off, he has a built-in alibi because he decided to forego the law, even though he could get his license back in 9 months and 24 days or whatever it is now, because he already established that he has a path. So he's hedging his bets, because he can either go back to law and do what we all know he's going to do, or if his get-rich-quick scheme on cell phones takes off, it doesn't look suspicious that he's a lawyer involved with a bunch of cell phones. It gives him kind of cover for if he's ever discovered to have all these cell phones and such. It gives him an out, because he's like, I told you I had a path, and instead of going back to lawyer, I became this hugely successful cell phone dude. See what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. I totally disagree. I don't think he has any intentions of like covering bets or like he's going to be a cell phone salesman. He's just telling Kim, I'm not going to see the therapist because I got to move on with my life and I have a plan. And his plan is purely doing this job for now until he becomes a lawyer. Because as we've seen this whole season, there is no plan B. It has to work.
Okay. I don't think he was changing his intentions. I think he was giving himself...
No, I don't think he thought that. He doesn't think that far into shit.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
I just thought he was being devious. That's all.
No, well, he's being devious because I think he's giving excuses to not go see the therapist, which he clearly needs. I think Kim's right about that. But he's kind of like, oh, it's not my grieving that's the problem. It's just that I got to keep moving forward and make money because I have 9 months until I can do what I am certified to do,
Well, either way, this bums Kim out, and she goes and makes a in-person call to Schweikert and Coakley. Yeah,
has a little impromptu meeting with Rich.
From the Sandpiper case.
That's right, and the Billy Gatwood case.
Yeah, and sells him on the idea of a banking division.
I also like how he asks her to sign her cast.
Yeah.
Like, do people still do that? Haha.
That's kind of charming, right?
Well, it's just kind of funny because he looks up to her. That's a very good sign if she's there kind of for an impromptu interview or whatever. And,
totally.
And then he offers his condolences to Jimmy. He's asking about Jimmy. So definitely establishing Rich Schweikert as a good guy.
I was going to say, yeah, Schweikert seems like a solid dude.
Yeah. Ever since season 1 or 2.
In a show absolutely devoid of nice, solid dudes, Schweikert, who was kind of posted as somewhat of a douchebag when we first met him, like in season 1 and season 2, and I guess season 3, right?
Right.
He was kind of played off as like the schmarmy kind of guy, but really, all things considered, as far as male leads or male storylines on this show. Schweikert's the nicest guy.
Only nice guys are ancillary characters. Even Ed Begley Jr.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to call him Stan Sitwell. But that's a different show. He came off as a pretty nice guy.
Right.
So, you don't get to be a main character if you're a nice guy because you have to break bad at some point.
Yeah, well, I mean, because this whole series and whole universe seems to be following a bunch of lovable dicks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just lovable dicks. So Mike and Gus start to plan the Big Brother house, and they have Wired and...
Were you expecting Nacho to be sitting there in the dark when the lights came on? Because that's the first thing I thought of is like Brian's expecting Nacho here.
No,
You started with a dark room. I was like, he's gonna think Nacho's sitting there. Then you see Gus and Mike walk in.
Yeah, I should have, but I didn't. So I kind of talked about this on preview with the prior. Remember, I was like, I hope they don't go into this whole thing about how they're gonna make the fucking lab because we get it. There's a lab, right?
Yeah.
But actually, the whole setup of this, now I'm actually really intrigued to see the construction of the lab. I guess I shouldn't have sold them short and known they weren't going to take some sort of stupid shortcut where it would just be a bunch of construction scenes of like Mike and a hard hat or some shit bossing people around. Now I'm kind of intrigued by the fact that these folks have to live pretty much in the facility and that there's modular homes wired and plumbed, mind you, for them to live in.
Right.
And Mike's not going to discuss roommate situations because he doesn't care who likes each other and who doesn't.
Exactly.
He doesn't want to hear about it.
That's their call. He doesn't know these German fools.
And I do like Mike, once again, is the HR manager going through all the stuff that they need. And end up with a soccer field and a bar and treadmills, which have to be professional grade, mind you, because they're just going to run through the...
Exactly.
Which I think Mike is way overestimating the amount that people like to run. Because I could tell you, I could grab, how many people were there? There was like 9 people. I could grab 9 people and we could live in that exact situation for 10 months or whatever it is that these folks are going to live in that exact situation. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee the treadmill would never be used, or it would just be used like everybody else's treadmill is used, and that's to hold people's dirty or clean laundry.
Well,
that's the only thing.
Well, here's the thing, Brian, is these guys are European.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much Europeans love to run in one place.
Yeah, well, how are they going to smoke cigarettes? Maybe they can install an ashtray on the treadmills, because I have a bunch of European buddies.
They all smoke cigarettes.
They do.
Yes. Europeans love to smoke.
Exactly.
They haven't quite got the vape yet.
How's that for stereotypes?
So here's the thing that I noticed. It just came to me, actually. I was thinking about this because I really noticed that when Mike looks in there and he sees just these 2 houses, and he's kind of like, dude, you're putting like a handful of guys in this place for 10 months and you just give them literally a building to sleep in. And Gus is like, what? Like, what more do they need? And he's like, everything that you need to have a life and not fucking go stir crazy. Right. And then when Gus tells his story to Hector, which we totally called, you realize like Gus grew up so simple, he doesn't know what it's like to have amenities. So he doesn't have that perspective where Mike's your typical red-blooded American.
Right.
And he's like, well, yeah, these guys need a bar, they need entertainment, they need everything because you got to keep them, not just keep them alive. Mm-hmm. Another running theme, just keeping things alive.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, give them some shit to do because
they're going to go fucking nuts.
They're going to go fucking nuts.
Mutiny.
Right.
Yeah. Once again, Mike is a hell of an HR manager. One thing I learned through this episode, though, is what a Sally port is. I had never heard of that before.
I also looked that up.
Yeah, I had to rewind it and see if that's what he was saying. So, Sally port.
I Googled salad port.
Salad port?
I had to do a lot of looking things up from mishearing. Mm-hmm. It might be because I played a gig today, so my ears are a little ringy. But yeah, I totally looked up what a Sally port was.
Cool. Yeah, I just thought that was neat. I liked it.
We're not going to explain what it is, but now Brian and I know.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people look it up on Wikipedia. So on the next scene, we open up with Jimmy calling sign manufacturers.
Oh, wait. No, well, yeah. I was going to say how it kind of struck me that Gus is like, make me a list, and then Mike just starts rattling shit off. Because when somebody tells me make me a list, I write it down and then hand you the list. Because he said make me a list, and Mike's, just we need this, this, and this, and then he leaves, and Tyrus comes in, and then he just starts dictating it.
Right. Well,
I would have wrote shit down.
Remember.
Apparently, he's going to remember,
and he does, because when we see it later on, everything appears to be there.
Totally.
Yeah. Big ups to him.
Big ups, Tyrus.
I would have forgotten what the hell we were doing the moment I walked into the door and they were and saw the house, and I'm like, wait, what are these for? I probably wouldn't have realized that.
You'd be sitting there, and then when all the treadmills got delivered, you'd be like, who ordered treadmills?
Right.
What are these for?
What the hell am I supposed to do with this bullshit?
Who ordered the laundry racks?
Exactly. We moved to Jimmy calling sign manufacturers.
That's getting the head over the skis a little bit, putting the cart before the horse. Counting your chickens before they hatch and throwing them all in one basket. You need more cliches?
Yeah. This scene was the scene was it kind of brought Jimmy back down a little bit from being a complete selfish dick.
I think how his reaction to this scene is related to how he reacts to Howard. It's that life's too short. You have those moments where you think you have all the time in the world, and all of a sudden, like, you realize, oh man, maybe I should get moving on some things.
Yeah, but he just shows so much emotion there that he didn't show for Chuck. Yeah,
and that's a great point, that he cared way more about Geraldine dying than about his own brother dying. Because
I thought there was going to be another caper when he asked if her son got the
Alpine Shepherd. Yeah, the Alpine Shepherd boy.
The Alpine Shepherd boy, but it seemed like he genuinely wanted the whoever was in the will to get it.
Yeah. He asked about the memorial service. He probably would have went to the memorial if he found out earlier and stuff.
Yeah, and he was kind of choked up a little bit before he said that. So I was like, man, what a dick. I was like, what a dick. But no, he was genuinely stirred by the loss of Miss Strauss.
Yeah, and it's also his reflection on the fact that he was legitimately friends with these old ladies, and now he's not because he's an asshole.
Yeah. And impressive that he called back exactly, finer details of the will.
Well, he wrote it.
Right. Well, I write.
He and Chuck do have some things in common.
Yeah.
And the whole the recall stuff is obviously one of them.
Yeah.
Because he does that a lot. He recalls things and details from previous encounters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Poor Jimmy lost his friend.
And then he pulls out the old Saul Goodman directed tape and a
tear. Shed a tear.
Yeah. Sheds a tear over the scene where she sheds. I guess that would be water dropped on her cheek.
Right. I forgot about the overacting in that whole commercial. Man, that was awesome.
How cheese dick it was.
The camera crew again. Single tear.
Fantastic.
A single tear. Jimmy then meets Kim for dinner.
Having a couple Moscow mules.
Yeah, by the way, mules are a big thing nowadays. If you go out to bars, everybody has a mule menu.
Because hipsters watch Better Call Saul.
Something. I don't know.
Trendsetters.
They're about 4 years too late on that or something. Right?
It's like a hipster drink probably or something. Because, it's served in a copper mug and it tastes like acid. And it's, hipsters don't like things that taste good. It has to be something else.
Right. I don't get the whole copper mug thing, but that's just kind of how it's done.
We went into that in detail back in the episode where we talked a lot about the Moscow Mule. Did you notice that when he walks up, he says, "Hey, Giselle"?
No.
Yeah. He greets her as Giselle, which is the alias they use when they pulled scams.
What?
I did have to rewind it because I was like, what the hell did he just say? It wasn't Kim, And then he's like, and then Kim says, how about we just be Jimmy and Kim? And at first I thought she meant like Jimmy had approached her as lawyers. And then I rewound it and he's like, hey, Giselle. And I was like, oh, Jimmy's already ready to pull her into a scam again.
Oh, good catch. I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah.
Look at that. Where was that?
That was right when he walked up to her at dinner.
Nice. Dave, man, picking it up. I usually pick up things like that. That's great, man. Good.
You usually do. Weird.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, well, way cool, man. That totally slipped by me.
Yeah.
So when she is talking to Jimmy about her job for Schweikert, though, I got hung up. She says she was offered a job, but that's a lie. She went there looking for a job.
Technically, she would probably have to be offered it, though. I mean, she had said, like, here's my idea. You know, do you have a banking division?
I took it as Kim being kind of devious. I took it as Kim.
Okay.
I took it as Kim.
Yeah, I guess that could
because
be her.
If she breaks Jimmy's heart, right? Because she saw all of his writings about their law firm, and he's drawing fucking marquees and signs and shit. And so she would destroy him if she was like, I intentionally, because of that, went and met with this guy. And, you know, she's walking it back a bit where she's like, oh, I met with Schweikert because he offered me a job. So I think that's going to come into play in their relationship. He's going to find that out.
I don't know, because I didn't pick that up because she goes into detail and says, like, you know, I'm going to start the banking division and it's going to help me with Mesa Verde. She explains it as if it was her idea, I thought. That's the way I interpreted the scene.
But if somebody offered you a job to do that, be like, oh, because you could say the same thing. I was offered a job at Schweikert and Schwackety or whatever the fuck it is. I was offered a job at Schweikert
and Coakley
to start the banking division, and this is what I'm going to do.
It softens the blow. It softens the blow. Yeah.
That's exactly what she was doing. But
I got you.
It's also inherently dishonest. So I feel like...
Well, yeah, anytime you soften the blow, it's dishonest.
I think that's going to come back around. I think Jimmy's going to flip out over that. I think something's going to happen where they're all in the same room, and it's going to be the thing where Schweikert is like, oh, yeah, look how successful we are. I did not anticipate this level of success when you came to me and pitched me on starting the baking division. And Jimmy's going to be like, WTF, OMG. Mark my words, that's going to happen.
Okay.
All right. Put it down.
And we're disagreeing a lot more this season, which is nice.
Yeah, we are.
Instead of agreeing, being so agreeable all the time.
Exactly. Jimmy starts pushing Wexler, McGill, and Kim. Kim's not really biting. Everything comes back. She's trying so nicely to say, dude, I am going this other direction. Like, I'm not breaking up with you yet, but just know, professionally, I'm distancing myself for you.
Yeah, we had speculated that she was doing pro bono work, and this is where it was confirmed. Because I don't think that was confirmed before. And the whole helping people.
Yeah.
And I was never sold on it until like here. Like, okay, it is pro bono work. And she is doing it to help people, which you were more astute to notice before I was. Actually.
She's a good soul.
Right. And then Jimmy tries to like, oh, but you know, criminal law, we could both be criminal lawyers, but it would be Kim is a criminal lawyer and Jimmy's a criminal lawyer.
Right, yeah. I feel he's starting to read the writing on the wall, right? Because when they were talking about the therapist, he noticed her disappointment and how unhappy she was with his decision not to go see the therapist. And I forget the phrase or noise that he made before he left the room, but he acknowledged that.
Right. Well, I noticed.
Was like, whoa. Like, oh, or something like that. He made some sort of verbal acknowledgement that she was very not fucking happy as he was on his way out the door. Yeah, right? True. So then he gets in this situation where out of the fucking blue, quote unquote, Kim was offered a job.
Things are going to change. It's going to change the future of Wexler McGill for sure.
The walls are closing in just a little bit. So he's reading the writing on the wall, and she's like, well, I could do this. Because he asked her, why are you doing the PA work? She says she likes it. He's like, oh, well, yeah, you know what? What a coincidence. I like that too. Out of nowhere? Yeah, totally. Yeah, let's do that shit. You know what I mean? Like he's reading because he has those instincts.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm thinking about the first scene when he talks about nobody argues with Kim Wexler, which was shown last episode with Petty with the prior guy. And so he doesn't push that hard, but he does push a little bit. And it kind of sets up more things. He's like, I'm looking at this this area. I want to set up my shop in one of these type offices in this area, which is what he does as Saul,
Yeah.
right?
He's also taking her temperature a bit, right?
Yeah.
Like seeing what she's open to, because I'm sure if she perked up, it's like, hell yeah, I want a shitty strip mall office. He'd be like,
Right.
fucking great, we're gonna do it.
Like,
but that's not.
He's trying to circumvent.
Circumvent.
He's trying to. I was doing a Arrested Development thing. He's trying to circumvent her way of arguing because he knows how she argues, and he's trying to like go a different route. But you just cannot. You cannot win against Wexler, man.
Yeah. Yeah, she's kind of got one foot out the door, and I think he feels it.
Oh yeah, totally. I think this is it's kind of the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So he does the whole like, oh man, I got to go hit the head thing, which means go stand awkwardly in the kitchen. And I did notice on the back, the place that they're eating is Fork, Forque. And just in case you're curious, that's located inside the Hyatt Regency on 330 Tigers Avenue Northwest, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87102.
And apparently their kitchen staff is hypnotic.
They're hypnotic?
Yeah, because he goes in when he stares into the kitchen is when the thing starts swirling and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
They do that whole thing.
Yeah.
Where he just, then he swallows it and goes back to the table or whatever, but he loses it for a second.
Yeah.
Much like I was about half an hour ago when the Bears game ended.
Yeah. you were quite upset. Right. So he feels it, right? The weight on his shoulders. Everything's coming down, man.
Well, he just, he's still upset about Geraldine dying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like those, bad things come in threes, just kind of blow after blow. Things are coming to an end while he's trying to get things started.
Yeah, he's kind of in the hot seat, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is how he makes other people feel, and now he's
right.
And they're terrible.
There's an observation,
right? And they're heavy and terrible situations. He takes advantage of it, and that puts people in these weird, off-putting things to where it feels like Chuck,
right?
Same fucking deal, man. Like,
but the difference is, Jimmy can hide it because he does it to himself so much. Also, I think he's used to getting over it and moving past things.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really good. He's good at faking that he's hiding it, faking it.
Yeah,
totally.
Because all of a sudden now he's on board.
Yeah,
which is interesting because Kim even says in a couple scenes prior where she says, "Hey, let's go out for dinner," and doesn't she allude to that Jimmy can come with her to Coakley?
I didn't get that at all. She said she has all these associates that'll ease my workload so I can get back to doing, public defender work or criminal whatever, petty work.
Okay. I might have heard that wrong. I'll have to go back and watch that and
I
maybe
didn't,
correct that.
I didn't notice anything about that. I think she's trying to separate from him because she's,
yeah.
Finally, she's always seen what he is, but she's finally starting to accept it, I guess. And it's not fun anymore. It's not cute anymore.
Right.
It's time to get serious, and she's been distracted for a little too long.
Mm-hmm.
And because life's too short, as we said earlier.
Right. She's got work that she wants to do, and he is he's like an anchor just pulling her down, like
possibly.
Yeah, holding her back.
Possibly.
What's Mike's?
But I think that the whole go for it, and he's like, a lot can happen in 10 months. So he's like, get out of this situation now. Let's address it later. I think that's what he's doing. He's like, oh, okay, I agree, go for it, blah, blah. But then he's going to try and weasel out another angle.
Right, exactly. Right, his whole deal is
table it for now.
Or like, hey, no, that's great. I totally agree with you. And then in his head, he's already scheming. All right, so here's the deal. So I'm gonna win her back by doing this. I'm gonna show her that I could be a success and be a lawyer and all this. So this is how I'm gonna win her back, and I'm gonna be so awesome that Schweikert and Coakley will have no choice but to let her resign because she'll be so upset because she's involved with me that she'll want to quit, like that kind of deal.
Or he'll sabotage Mesa Verde so she gets fired from fucking Schweikert and Coakley. What if that happens?
Oh, man.
If he'd do it to his own brother.
Yeah, because it ends justify the means, right?
But he did it for Kim. And this time he would be doing it for himself. So I don't know if that's quite in line with his character, but it could be.
Yeah.
He could sabotage that whole thing, and because sometimes when your woman gets out of hand, you got to knock her down a peg or two so you can have control over her again. That's just life.
That's just nature. All right. All right. Moving on. Mike goes to apologize to Stacy, who is the the least interesting character on the entire goddamn show.
Yeah, I don't.
So much so.
She's boring.
I mean, I get her purpose, but there's such a lack of storyline.
She's a walking OxyContin pill.
Dude,
just looking at her makes you get bored. It's like listening to me talk.
Exactly.
Yeah. Totally.
It's just like, oh my God. And I enjoy listening to you talk. But
oh, thank you.
I get it. She misses Maddie, right? I think we all miss Maddie.
I think
right?
so.
I think
he was a cute little kid, man. He just wanted to write his name in cement and shit.
Right. Right? Man, I hope something happens with the character soon, because in a series just full of really interesting people doing shit, she's the odd one out.
Well, somebody has to be the control. Somebody has to be the baseline. So she's the uninteresting character, because when you have to have the uninteresting so you can see how interesting the interesting is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
So she's that. It's like, the straight man in a comedy routine. Right?
In a weird way, I feel like they're building to something with her, right?
But
right?
But she's so goddamn boring and Breaking Bad too.
Yeah, and that's not the that's not the actress's fault or anything.
No,
like that.
no, not at all. It's the characters. That's the way this character's written. Totally.
It's just every time the character's on screen, I'm just like, like come on.
Yeah, she's gonna squeeze out a couple of words through that super depressed mouth of hers, and talk about Maddie some more and Kaylee.
Yeah, I get it. You're sad. We're all sad.
Although
sad.
Okay, so I actually corrected myself though, because I was gonna say Mike apologized to Stacy.
Mm-hmm.
He never apologized. He was there to double down.
Yeah,
because that's the first thing he said. He never said I'm sorry, because I don't think I've ever heard Mike apologize for anything. Have you?
Nope. I have not.
And then she tells him to call Anita. So she's super upset, but he didn't pour any concrete this episode, so we're not going to see Anita.
I don't know why. That's still kind of the circumstance, and our circumstance made it even kind of funnier the second time. So yeah, nope, totally agree. No concrete, no Anita, and that's that. What a bummer. She'll come back. There's going to be totally something where she comes back, because Mike has to have a love interest, and obviously his life goes to shit in Breaking Bad anyway. So something's going to happen where she either confronts him and talks about how they're incompatible, which makes Mike more of a miserable human being, or they actually fall in love for a brief moment, and then some sort of tragedy separates them, because that's just how TV shows work.
Yeah, and for the record, we had a recording snafu, and I had this whole great thing about we had a great thing about why he would push Anita away, if it's because Gus is controlling Mike, or if he's trying to keep her safe, or if he just doesn't care, or what did you say? He just wants his money back.
Yeah, so so here's the deal. We had a small recording snafu, so just imagine the most genius analyzation and prediction of Anita and Mike's relationship that you could possibly think of in my voice. And that's what we're going to go.
Oh, I was going to say, and that would be on another podcast, and we just dicked around and made stupid jokes for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I learned a new phrase.
Okay.
Wearing a hair shirt.
Wearing a hair shirt.
When Mike says you don't have to wear a hair shirt the rest of your life, she's like, oh, I'm never going to forget Maddie. And he's like, you don't have to wear a hair shirt the rest of your life. And she's like, neither should you. Also known as a sillis.
Okay.
Or a sackcloth. And is a self-imposed form of repentance.
I took it as just, I just figured that would be extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I just took it as, like, through context clues. I caught that he said that, and well, I just went with, oh well, you don't have to be uncomfortable or burdened by this the rest of your life, like
yeah, totally. But this is one of like the 5 things that I could not hear. I didn't understand what the fuck he said, so I googled it to make sure that I heard, because I was like, a hair shirt. What the hell is a hair shirt? So I had to go look it up because I've never heard that phrase in my life.
Okay. Cool. Learning stuff. Sally Port, hair shirt.
That's right. There's a couple more things later.
Mike is quite educational this episode.
Yeah. So is Gus. We'll get to that during the monologue.
Jimmy goes to HHM to get his check.
He goes to Howard's End.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Wants to get that money. He's got to get some paper, and he needs it ASAP because Howard tells him, like, dude, you could have waited till Friday. You'd have it. And he's like, nah, now. Need it.
Well,
now.
he's going to want to cash it super quick now that HHM is collapsing.
Right.
They're undergoing right sizing. Yeah, you better run to the bank.
Yeah, right sizing. I like it. Not downsizing.
You're right. Right sizing. Right. Exactly.
Few setbacks, like
That's
Howard's hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jesus.
Snap. It's not getting any better.
He's not getting any better.
Right. Yeah. Kind of a weird exchange there. I mean,
I liked it.
You liked it.
I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did. The whole when I don't know if it's because Jimmy cares about Howard or if he just like hates to see people that give in so easily.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because he tells him to fight, but his first thing he's like, so what's the plan, dude? Like it's so natural to him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you had a setback. What's the plan? How you gonna make it right? Like I'm gonna go cash this check for $5,000 and I'm gonna go make a bunch of money like right now.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you doing? And
Love the look on PFAB's face when Jimmy calls him a terrible lawyer.
Oh yeah, and the fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
He's like, yeah, you're a shitty lawyer, but you're a great salesman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of cursing in this scene.
Yeah.
And we get to hear the actual curse words, which is awesome.
Well, I think they do on AMC too. The people that
can't.
watch it live, I think they get one fuck a season. Because in Breaking Bad, there was one time that they were
Really?
allowed to use the uncensored fuck
Wow.
per season in Breaking Bad.
I thought that was just a movie thing.
No, so they saved it as like a pivotal moment in Breaking Bad all the time.
I
When
think
a character
a season or season.
a season.
I think I remember. Wasn't it Howard saying "fuck you, Jimmy" before?
I think it's come. I think it's. I think it's been said. It's definitely been said on this.
It's been
series.
said. I thought it was Howard saying "fuck you" to Jimmy before.
Well, let's take a look real quick.
Maybe one of our listeners will tell us. But yeah, and then like the whole and the whole one little setback, which is it's not one little setback, but in Jimmy's mind, these things are just little setbacks.
Yeah,
like a whole night's work getting stolen from you by some punk kids, just one little setback.
Yeah, shit happens.
And then Howard takes it, and then the whole like, oh, your pain is so special because Jimmy's hurting on several levels right now. He's going through his shit is actually worse than Howard's shit. I think.
and this goes back
worse than the Chuck thing for Howard.
Mm-hmm. And I also that part of this scene reminded me of Mike's whole calling out the dude at the grief counseling.
Yeah, a lot of calling out, a lot of calling out on Better Call Saul because Kim called out Howard,
right?
Pretty bad.
And I'm just saying, I immediately went back to the scene because Mike's whole point was you guys wallow in your in your miserable lives, and you need to fucking move on. And here's Jimmy in his own way, basically saying the same thing
and doing it too. And Mike's doing it, and Jimmy's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Kim's gonna call out Jimmy. That would be nice to see.
Be a nice blow up, huh?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But I love how they wrapped it up with the "fuck you, Jimmy," and Jimmy's just like, "There you go, use that."
Yeah,
like there's your motivation.
Mm-hmm. He should bill him now. Bill him for the counseling for the consultant.
I think
bill him a consultant fee.
I think we've all been that guy to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can be pissed at me as long as you use that energy to improve yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've probably been on that end of it several times.
I could think of a few examples, including me, myself, and other friends.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I'm awesome. Short scene where Jimmy gets the phones delivered
to the nail salon. Yeah, Mrs. Nguyen.
Yeah, it's nice to see an Eileen Fogarty. She was so cool when she was on the show.
She's a fan of the podcast, apparently.
Yeah.
I wonder if she still listens.
Probably not. But
hi, Eileen.
Yeah, hi, Eileen. I did like the progression. Jimmy keeps walking in, and she just progressively keeps trying to impede him.
Right.
Like just waiting for him to stop.
Yeah.
and at least explain himself or give her an opening to be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Nope, he ain't having it. He's just like,
Yeah.
out of my way, excuse me.
Yeah.
Because even when she calls him out later, she like tries to think of all these excuses, and she does a good job of acting that of like, okay, I need another excuse. What about this reason why you can't do it? Oh,
Yeah.
what about this reason why you can't do it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then after paid off, she's like, get rich quick schemes don't work. Because she still taking the moral high ground, even though she was totally paid off with a burner phone.
That's kind of the theme of the whole damn series and Breaking Bad is that, they don't work. And then the other guy is just like, watch me.
Yep.
In my case, it's going to. Like people that buy lottery tickets.
Yeah. Suckers.
Except for that one that wins.
Yeah. Well, that guy's a genius. Everybody else is a sucker.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Gus monologues.
That is the first thing I wrote down because we completely called in preview of the prior. Like I knew this scene was just going to be Gus talking to Hector, giving some crazy parable about a loquat tree and a coati. Something like that.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of either of these things, by the way.
I have not.
I did
either.
Look them up to see because I didn't understand what the hell he said. It took me like 3 searches to figure out. These are apparently not indigenous to central northern Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel the need to discuss a monologue and go all the way through everything he said line for line. He grew up poor. He nursed the tree back to health. Got pissed that this cat ate it instead of killing the cat.
It's a raccoon-like creature. See? Okay. Research.
Raccoon. Well, whatever.
Raccoon-like.
He said it was about the size of a cat or something.
Yeah,
something
totally.
about a cat. Okay.
No,
so either way, cool backstory. We get it, right? Like you triumphed over adversity through your own cutting and ingenuity. I get it. My main thing about this scene was as Gus exited the room, and it kind of in the foreground was Hector's hand. I so thought they were going to do the thing where now after the monologue, Hector started to awake.
I thought I was
or even his little digit, like how he used to ring the bell in Breaking Bad.
They played us, dude. They totally played us on that.
I'm sure everybody was watching.
Everybody was waiting for it to happen, and it didn't. In fact, I noticed that the finger was the only thing. That was the only finger you didn't see. You could see 4 fingers, or 3 fingers and a thumb.
Yeah.
And you didn't see that finger. So everybody was waiting for him to raise that finger, and it didn't happen. Kudos, you fuckers.
Yeah, that actually made the whole scene for me. That seriously made me like that entire scene.
Yes, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention the whole monologue is just a parable for how he's going to treat Hector. And it's lit pretty amazingly. I thought it was shot pretty amazingly. Very dark. I was looking for Nacho in the background because Nacho likes to wait in dark rooms.
Dark, of course. Yeah.
But no, it was great. Nothing to analyze. It's just a parable saying what he's going to do. And but my attention was more towards how it was presented. How it was presented.
The presentation was awesome. Like well-written monologue. I get the motivations. I totally understand the backstory. I just felt like through most of it, I was just like, grew up poor. I'm sure there's some sort of hardship. Like, look, a tree that like nobody could get to grow, but like you overcame you got the tree to grow, and then although I did think he was going to kill the cat, I thought his revenge was going to be kill the cat and feed us to his family, and that's where it was going to end up was, so I'll kill you in some sort of metaphor for that. But nope. The metaphor was he kept the cat alive, and therefore he's going to do the same for Hector.
Because it was more suffering for the cat. Because the grand scheme, the entire point, Gus is extremely patient.
Yeah.
There you go. Moving on.
Yep. Moving on. Workers arrived to build the meth lab. They're digging it.
Yeah. Kai's kind of a dick.
Yeah. Kai, that's exactly what I wrote. Kai is being a dick.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. Because everyone else is excited. But then as soon as Mike is all like, hey guys, HR meeting, here's some rules. And then Kai's just kind of like, oh, let me get my beer. Oh, I don't like this beer. Let me get a different kind of beer. You notice that?
Yeah, kind of a ballsy move. The whole time I actually thought he was going to end up getting shot to be made an example of.
My last note is that Mike's going to kill him.
Yeah.
I think Mike's
I thought it was going to happen right then and there to kind of put the fear of God on him and be like, Don't fuck around.
Right.
Because that's what typically happens in movies and shows in that situation. But Mike showed his patience.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I mentioned this earlier during the snafu, but am I the only one that notices the indents on the side of Mike's head that are put there from years of him wearing eyeglasses outside of his acting roles?
I have not noticed it, and I probably
I'm just
will
saying
now.
that because I stood next to the man when we went to L.A. For when AMC graciously sent us to L.A. to watch a taping of Talking Saul, and he was in glasses and he had a white goatee, and it stunned me because I was like, "Wow, you actually look kind of younger in person than you actually do on the TV show." And for some reason, in this scene and the scene with his daughter, I noticed like the indents that the arms of the glasses have made over the years of wear on the side of his head. I kept, because it gives it like a really odd shape, and I kept looking at that the entire time. So now, therefore, everybody else is now going to notice the marks that his glasses have made from years of wear in real life. You will notice it in this show now. So
Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Brian.
Absolutely. You know what? And I hope it's distracting. And once you see it, you'll never be able. It's like the arrow. It's like the arrow on a FedEx truck. Once you notice it, you will notice it for the rest of your life.
Or the Amazon logo goes from A to Z,
And it's a smiley face.
and it's a smiley face, but it goes from A to Z
Exactly.
because they have everything.
Everything. Yep. Okay. So I do love the view outside of the building when Mike walks to the monitor truck. And this is where I seriously started thinking, oh, they're on fucking Big Brother. This is exactly how Big Brother is set up.
Well, yeah.
There's a sound truck.
Surveillance thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he does. He had a weird, like, when he's like, you want cameras outside and inside. You want to see people coming in and trying to leave.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're totally watching these guys. Especially Kai now.
Yeah. But he was magnanimous about it because he even said, they know we're going to be watching them, but we don't need to rub it in their face.
Right.
Mike is a pretty decent HR manager. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, man, his crew's happiness, he understands that a happy crew is a productive crew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you're Kai.
What do you think is going to happen with Kai? I don't understand.
I think Mike's going to take him out. I think, because I was thinking about this when you said you didn't want a whole lot to like focus on the construction, right? So then now they're introducing this character that's going to be a wrench in the spokes, and he's going to be an issue, and it's going to be another vehicle to cause more drama and have another side storyline. So this guy's going to be questionable. He's got an extra eye on him. He's going to fuck up. He's going to have to be made an example of because you can't let this guy like just go without paying him off or something.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think he's going to get buried underneath the meth lab, man. He's going to be part of the foundation. And when Mike pours that concrete over him, we see Anita.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Okay. Nice. I like it. I'm not even going to comment. I like it. Okay, cool. And then we move to the last scene. Not sure how I feel about this. Jimmy attempts to make a deal with the punks that roughed him up. Tries to cut him in. Hey, I'll give you $100 a night, which I got $33.33 per person per night. Not bad.
I thought
Especially
it was $100
then.
a person.
Oh, I took
I
it
thought
as
he was in for 300. I thought he was in for $300 a night.
Nah, well, I mean, maybe. I took it as like he would just give them collectively as a group $100. and I was like, wow, $33. That's fantastic. That's great.
Well, to do nothing, I'll take $33 a night to do nothing.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, if anybody out there wants to just like Venmo me $33, first off, I'll figure out what the hell a Venmo is, and second off, I'll take your $33.
I'll take your Bitcoins. And, I mean, that's like 2 packs of smokes in Chicago, man.
That is,
You know, at least
slightly less.
Punk ass kids probably smoke.
Yeah, slightly less than 2 packs of cigarettes in Chicago. Okay, so my thing about this, I like that he took off. I like that he kind of lured them into a trap.
Totally.
Kind of ingenious. Love the Piñata factory.
Yes.
I love that it's Huel.
Yep.
I don't love that it's not QB.
Obviously.
Right? Only slightly love Jimmy becoming a badass all of a sudden. And then I had this weird thought. I'm like, man, that's kind of silly. But then I forgot what exactly we're watching at that moment because he obviously has to be involved in some pretty ruthless stuff, right? But in Breaking Bad, he's pretty cowardly.
Well, he is cowardly. I mean, we didn't even address the fact that he called the vet. We usually point out every time he contacts the vet because he's answering all the questions about the goldfish. So I got to throw that in there because the vet was in the midst of this nefarious scheme and all this illegal activity. The vet had to make sure that Jimmy's taking care of the goldfish, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, he's having other people. He always has other people do his dirty work. That's part of being cowardly. So he didn't beat the kids. He didn't bring a gun. He could have walked up with a gun and been like, all right, I'm going to tape your mouth shut.
Yeah, but he was a lot more street, I guess, as you could say, than he has been in the past. And then it got me thinking, what if at some point he kind of gets too big for his britches and there's a situation like that where he doesn't just get mugged, he gets severely fucked up. And then he has to pull it back a bit and he figures, maybe I should just stick with the whole being smarmy angle.
Well, I'm thinking about like
I'm thinking he's trying to be like a gangster, right? He's like straight up mob bossing right now.
Well, I think it has to do with the fact that he was one of those kids.
Well,
he knows how to intimidate those people because he knows what intimidates him. So he's able to like acting and get into that mindset to be a badass because the kids are tied up. They're not going to do nothing.
Right.
Because you go back to season 1 with the Tuco stuff and he was like pissing in his pants and begging for his life. And
which again makes me think that he's going to take his badass persona a little overboard and that's going to help him develop where he sits with Saul.
Okay.
That's where I'm good because I know he's obviously nefarious, right? He's not a good guy. And he's kind of a dick, and he obviously has been involved with bad things. But as I'm watching this, I'm like, that's a little too. It's like Orange is the New Black, right? Like the main
shitty and not interesting.
Exactly. No, it's just like they took the main character who was like this meek individual that got by on her cunning, and then all of a sudden she's the biggest badass, even though she's like 5'2" and 120 pounds, and literally every person surrounding her could whoop her ass in prison, but she doesn't get shanked because people for some reason are afraid of her. That's kind of how I felt about this scene. It's like where did he become?
Only because it's punk ass kids.
Bruiser.
I think it's just because it's punk ass
kids.
Kids.
And I think that's gonna embolden him. Right?
Maybe.
Like I think that's gonna embolden him, and I think he'll get a dose of reality, and then that'll kind of cull him a bit, and that just helps with the development of the overall Saulness.
Maybe, but I didn't think that because I just think like he's just calling out these kids. He wouldn't do this to like Nacho or Mike or some other, You can always see he's very submissive towards Mike. Hey man, let's go do another scam. Hey,
well, that's what I'm saying. What if he tries to pull that badass shit because he's riding high with Mike? Mike just fucking dots him in the nose.
Maybe, but I don't think so. But it's very plausible. So I will give you. We haven't done any points today except for Emma Thompson. So I'll give you a point for that.
What? Emma Thompson or Emma Watson?
Emma Thompson.
Okay. Well, that's good because I just called her, and she says she agrees with me. So we're gonna give 5 more points to Emma Thompson.
Oh, there you go.
And I think I've been saying Emma Watson.
No, you've been saying Emma Thompson.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
Totally.
All right. Well, whatever. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's like a major plot point. I'm just saying I could
maybe a little hitch and a giddy up in a later episode.
Yeah, I just feel like that's where that's going.
He mouths off to somebody, gets too big for his britches, gets punched in the face, has to explain it to Kim, can't think of a good lie, and she leaves him, and then goes and dies.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That's how it ends.
Yeah, series over. Cue to being in the desert, and I hope we never see Jesse and Walt. God, that'd be so awesome. I hope we never see Jesse and Walt.
I kind of agree. You know what? Somebody brought up a good point. I can't remember where I saw it. That maybe the gene stuff could be happening while Walt's away. Walt's still alive. That could be Walt driving. No, it could be Walt driving the cab.
No, my favorite one so far is somebody said it was Howard.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
I could see that.
I could totally see that.
I can see that in the eyes and everything like that.
Howard's reduced to driving a fucking cab. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have to look back at our comments. I'm not even sure if we covered that in a preview with the prior, but we
really messed up if it was Kim.
Somebody messaged us and predicted that it was Howard.
Not bad.
I know we got Nacho and some of the other things, but I remember being stricken by that. I was like, holy shit, that is great. I never thought of that. I'm going to put that on the show. So I'm going to try to track that down, whoever you are. So if I can't track it down, I totally apologize. And that is not Dave or I's idea, but one of our listeners is making the bet that it was Howard. And it would make sense as I sit there and look. And when I heard that, I actually went up and tried to find quick pictures real quick of what the guy's eyes look like. And from my memory, it makes sense. I just haven't really put two it together. Maybe we should do that before preview with the prior. I'll try to track down their name, but I like that theory. Man, that'd be great.
Although, I don't think Gene would react that way if it was Howard. Unless he never saw the face and only saw the eyes.
I think he only saw the eyes, man.
Then yeah, that's plausible.
Because there was a lot of uneasiness there, right? Like,
right. But if I was uneasy,
it could be interpreted not only is he scared, but maybe there was a little bit of right. Well, I mean, shit. He was like, man, this guy. He was feeling like the dude recognized him, right? Right. Jimmy part of the thing that skeeved Jimmy out is he thought that the dude recognized him, right?
I don't know. Yeah, he just
who would recognize him better than Howard?
Yeah, that's true. But I would have looked around and like changed the angle of the mirror and trying to see the whole face. Personally, I would think instead of just like, oh, look at your eyes are creepy. Let me get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, well, you know what? You never know what you would do in that situation.
Exactly.
And plus,
I've never been in a cab with a guy with an Albuquerque Isotopes fucking cab air freshener. So
exactly. But the Howard Hamlin, that's what I like. I'm digging that. That's awesome. I like that. I would rather have that than like when people are like, Walt's alive. Like, no, he's not. He's fucking dead. Or then running into like a 40-year-old Jesse or however he's supposed to be now. That's kind of lame. But like Howard, that'd be I think that'd be kind of cool. Just a disheveled because I mean, look what happened to his law firm, right? So like things are kind of lining up.
Going downhill.
Yeah, I wish I would have thought of that myself. Okay.
Here's another one. Mm-hmm. Last episode opening scene. Mm-hmm. People trying to destroy my theory about Kim dying, saying that Jimmy sends Francesca to Kim. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about this at the time. Why the hell would he have to tell Francesca that Jimmy sent you? Francesca worked for Kim.
Okay, that was my original thought when somebody brought that up, because I think I actually began to say that when we talked about that on preview with the prior, and then we just went off on something else. So I originally thought that too, but then I thought, taking his personality into account, maybe he was being cute. That's why she just kind of like scoffs at it.
Oh, God damn it. I don't want you to be right, because that's solid.
you know what I mean? Like, because he's kind of like that with the whole like, hey, hugs.
It's like it's a callback to the past era. Tell him Jimmy sent you, because he goes by Saul now. So tell him Jimmy sent you, and then they both have that little moment of, oh, you fucked this all up. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't even like, oh, it's just she's just like, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Like that's what I thought is. I had that thought originally, but then I was like, oh, he was being cute. He was trying to inject some humor into a very intense situation.
But it seems so sincere when he gave her the number and was like, here, call this.
No, he wants her to call.
Yeah.
But then he knows if it's Kim, then he's trying to be trying to be coy. It's just like,
well, fine. I'm going to have to edit this whole section out because now I look like an idiot.
No.
Call us idiots, call us geniuses, whatever, just call us.